7:03 p.m. We'd start with a roll call with the Dave and who you're with.
Fire Commission, Dave Wallner.
Doug Plurd, Fire Rescue Chairperson, and Town of Somerset Supervisor.
Tim Witzman, Town of Somerset.
Ed Schockner, Somerset Chairman.
Shane Denling, Town of Somerset Supervisor.
Chris Marino, Village Board.
Mike Cappers, Village.
Rita Lawson, Fire Rescue Commission.
Chris Dubeck, Village Board.
Absent from the Fire Commission is Wally Newman from the large township.
And missing from the town board is Lenny Germain.
Missing from the Village is Caleb Garn and Brandon Crone. And joining us by Zoom is Donnie Kern and Josh Hecht.
Good evening, everyone.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. We did the roll call. Time for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you have any public comment on agenda items? 2 minutes per person and 14 minutes per topic.
Like when you go back to number 4 and approve the agenda first.
Okay. For approval of the agenda.
I'll move to accept the agenda as presented.
For a
I'll
second.
second the motion. Doug Plurd.
Committee discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And now the public comments. Do you have anything for you?
I'm here for Somerset Disc Golf for moving some wood chips around properties. I don't know if that's on the agenda or not.
Yep, it is.
Okay,
Under old business, he might take a presentation.
Okay.
all right. Presentation.
We can go through the meeting minutes from the July 26th meeting.
Make a motion to accept the minutes that are in.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion. Doug Plurd.
Discussion? None, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Approval of financial report.
Received 2 of the budget reports. One is the budget to actual with all the activity of the fire department over the last, through September 18th, because I was dating it to be coincide with the budget date that we were using for those expenditures. And then there's one that's just one page that is just the actual budget to the actual related budget expenses. We haven't done our third quarter payroll yet, so you won't
Okay, that's
see
why
those numbers in there. That's why that looks like,
At 50.
yeah, it's still, yeah. Cause we'll do that at the end of the month, but because of the budget workshop and everything, we're in those days, so.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys.
Great.
see
Could you say your name for Deja? You
Sarah, right?
Yeah. I did add you to my email contact too, so I.
Thank you.
questions on that? Oh, I think.
I think the last meeting, someone was asking about the concert fee that we got on there, so, and I did mention that it would be on here, so you can see what you see. Money for the concert protection services, that was just for the one concert, I think, so far, right? Was that just the?
Yeah, and I think Andrea's on there, but we just got, I think she got all the checks, so
Yeah.
we have all the money now, she'll be paying.
I just
The check
remember from the
also
last
we
meeting, someone was asking if we could fund, you'd see it on that concert protection services and the revenue accounts. I just remember that, so I thought I'd clean it out there.
Does the concert ever make a contribution to the fire department? Because really, at this point, all you're doing is covering your costs.
Yeah, we get a little bit of mystery fest. You know, like this year, we replaced all of our t-shirts because all of a sudden articles were written over the years about how great we stood out, and they're actually in big magazines for these publications regarding big concerts back when X Fest was. So we stuck with our red shirts forever. And this year they also came out with red shirts for their concession people or their security people. So it's like, now we're not looking different. So if you were to go to a concert now, you'll see we look like pumpkins. We've replaced them all with bright orange shirts. So everybody has, now we stand out again, but so they covered, like, we charge them for that. We're not gonna pay for that. They did that to us. Why should we eat $700 worth of t-shirts? So, but we don't, if you remember back in the day, when we used to go work concerts, we get $5,000 cash. We take that, it would just be to the department, everybody went, work for free, nobody asked for money, it was a donation to the fire department. 1 year, we didn't get the money, and from that point on, it was, you're not gonna work the concerts unless you're paid wages. So now we just have to figure out, we have a set wage, and we do a pre-bill every concert a month prior, we try to do a month prior. And then try to guesstimate what we're gonna need, what we're gonna charge, and then when the concert's done, usually a day or two or a week later, I try to get a final bill to Andrea, and then she either sends money back, they should pay the pre-bill, and if they do, then she looks at how much difference there is, either pays it back or bills them for the additional money.
Okay.
So, but we don't, there's no profit on it, we really can't, I mean, we're not.
Sure.
Yes, if they sent us a check, that'd be awesome, if anybody's wanting.
That's also how the CUP is drafted too, because they're required to have certain percentage of fire medical. And then also, it just shows that they're being paid just for their labor, for their exact costs, so there is no profit margin in it. You do get paid a small amount for administrative.
Yeah, we charge some administrative fees and stuff. to help
And
pay.
social security, everything balances out now.
We charge if we have the UTV there, we charge up $70 an hour, which is like a FEMA rate to have it there.
Okay.
Small, I have it broken down by size of concerts, when it hits certain levels of turnout is when we say we need 12 people or we need 20 people or whatever it is. But then we also have it worked in there that, if you remember the Somerset Music Festivals, which had the EDM and the drugs and things, we obviously stepped up our, even though there's only 15,000, we had more people there for that than we would at a Willie Nelson 15,000 people concert.
Sure.
So it's worked pretty good for us.
Okay, good.
They are pretty good to us, and they need to upgrade some things for us, make our area that we work out of better, but we make do.
Okay.
So then besides you guys, is like Stillwater then there?
Lakeview's there every time, they generally will have,
And that's a whole separate entity and.
they deal with all their own stuff, they do all their billing separately, it's just the village just deals with us and the police.
And there's, so it's Lakeview, not Richmond, I mean, it's still through you guys.
Lakeview, Lakeview's gotta bring a truck from somewhere else, that's on them, they'll generally use the Alina network, so whether it's an Alina rig or a ML, the only time we saw other rigs is during the Stillwater Music Festival, and there's 4 or 5 ambulances coming in and all. But generally, it's their trucks that are there. If they don't give them what they're paying for, not our problem, you know, if they don't have 2 trucks, we're supposed to have 2 trucks. But our agreement with Lakeview though is still, and this year was a little questionable, that the truck that's here, say we have a medical in Somerset, Village or Town, the truck that's here will respond to that medical and they'll backfill the concert, not send a truck from Stillwater or Hudson to cover our medical. Our people in our community should come first. And that's been our agreement. We had a little discussion over this year that we're gonna discuss over the winter before next year's concerts.
changes.
So.
Good. Well, thanks for your efforts in that. I think, you know, it's good to hear that the concert is additional thing, and that if there's a medical emergency by a resident of the village or the township, that would be addressed first, so.
Yep, that's the way it should, I mean, I think that's the way it should be, you've got a truck in town and primary should be a community, so.
Good.
A little update on we've been talking to EJ and Live Nation about the interim conditional use permit for next year. Currently, it's a $5,000 deposit. They're willing to go up to $10,000 going into the season. And then EJ now has the ability to, within 7 days, to be able to write the check right to the fire department with that invoice, and then right to the police department, so they get paid right away and not be waiting on any checks. So it hasn't been approved yet, but that's what they're willing to do.
But in regards to the monies, this way is much more fair. If you're depending upon a donation,
Yeah,
things don't go good, it's unreliable, where this makes it fair for the fire department. Guys get paid, and you know you're
cover your
gonna.
costs.
We get paid by the village either way, so if the concert site doesn't pay them, it's not our problem, it's on the village, like the village has to pay us, that's how the agreement worked back when we did it. So, because there's obviously concern on the township's part, as they're not getting paid, so.
And yeah, and like I said, now the day of the concert, as long as they have their invoice, they're gonna get cut a check that day. And then if it's anything extra, then it'll go through Live Nation Worldwide, and then it'll take the 30 days or whatever to get it after that, after they receive it.
Yeah, we're usually pretty, I mean, because we only pay quarterly, so we pay in April or the end of March, and we pay in the end of June, so generally there's not many shows, it's all the shows fall between July and September, and we usually don't, like Andrea, emailed me, she got all the money, so we'll have a check before we do payroll, which will cover it all, so
Great.
we're fine.
I'll make a motion to approve the financial report.
I'll second the motion. Doug Ford.
First and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Update on disc golf project at Parnell Prairie Preserve.
The project is moving forward. Very good. There's two things that I wanted to, and maybe Chris, you can update on just the project in general, where you're at with that. I know you were trying to focus on getting 9 holes up and running. We'll be probably short of having tee pads, but we'll have to work through that. Maybe there's still some stuff.
Right now, we have 9 baskets that are out there, and we have T-pad markers where wood chips are, so it's technically is a playable 9-hole course out there right now. We have 36 benches that an Eagle Scout built for us that we're gonna place out there probably in the next month or so. And those are gonna be more markers for the T-pads, and we're gonna hang maps on them to kind of make a map, so people can walk around and know where they're going.
Okay, great. The two things I wanted to bring up at this point were, with regards to, we had discussed in our last meeting, the possibility of getting the village involved in some maintenance. We go out and mow the trails that are in the open area, and our mower can handle that, but being able to mow the fairways of the disc golf is something we'd like to see if we could maybe get the village to commit to 2 days, 2 times a year. And I know you have a tool cap that probably would work with that, because it's not as wide. If we lay down our pull behind mower, what is that, 12 feet or 15 feet? So we're really limited in what we can do, and it's not designed to go through, hills and stuff like that. So I did, we tried to schedule a meeting, Mike, myself and Bob, and it just didn't work out, but we kind of decided maybe the place to talk about it is see if we can get it in the minutes for tonight's meeting as a joint meeting to get approval by the village to, twice a year go out and mow the fairways out at the disc golf. It's gonna be I just was out there today, and there was a bench that was placed, memorial bench for Andre Johnson, and I wish I had a picture of it, but you're sitting on the bench just looking out at the prairie, and it's beautiful. One of the things I think we've been able to accomplish, I think they've been able to accomplish a lot in a short period of time. And next year, we'll probably be working on the other 9 holes to get a full 18. But just think it's an asset to the community, that we can have both a prairie as well as a disc golf going around the perimeter of that. And they've been, I think it's also an opportunity to enhance the knowledge of the prairie. So we're looking to maybe working with a group that might have the same interest in the prairie and identifying plants and putting signs out there that would help with the prairie, understanding what the prairie is out there. So, so I guess that's the first thing, looking for that support. And then as a part of a project that the township did, we cleared out a road, 165th, which is probably the oldest road in the township, I heard. It was a route for people coming off of ferries, crossing the river from Minnesota to Wisconsin, coming up the river, I think. Anyways, as a result of that, we got a lot of wood chips. We had a logger come in and it's piled up out there. We'd like to move those to appropriate areas. And I talked to Ed about the possibility of having our crew go out there for a morning with a loader and a dump truck and move it further to more selective spots on Parnell Prairie. But I understand there's also an interest in having some of those wood chips for the disc golf down by the water tower, Lake Grandeur. So, you know, I think if there's mutual interest or if the village supported that, and I'm assuming you have a dump truck, when we have the loader out there and our dump truck for moving it on Parnell Prairie, that maybe a village dump truck could come out there and we could fill that up and make a couple trips to Lake Grandeur Park. So that's my request. It could be in the next week or two. You know, we're kind of done with mowing. We did our Pacer road reports. We're now trying to, you know, get ready for winter plowing, but there's still some projects we're working on. But, you know, morning for the two guys would work well. So, and if we can coordinate that with a dump truck from the village, and get a lot of work done. Because we'd like to get rid of those wood chip piles that, you know, look like it was kind of a catalyst for, you know, for wood chips, which we really don't want mounds of wood.
You guys have a need for it out there at the one at LaGranger?
One of the Granger could use it. There's a lot of like dirt areas and roots being exposed. I'd like to kind of lay out, you know, have for erosion control. I have a few spots out there, and I mean, I threw together a plan. I sent it off to you, Tim.
Yeah, and I'll forward that to you. Or if you've got it on your, maybe you can give your phone, maybe you can forward that off.
I don't know why. It's through my work account, so I don't know if I have access
Oh,
to it on my phone. So
okay.
Quick question in regards to the wood chips on the trails and burning the prairie. I think you can water those down enough that we wouldn't have any.
Well, the wood chips wouldn't be on the prairie areas.
Be more
Inside
the trails.
Yeah.
So they won't really be out there burning.
Okay.
Actually, they're on the way now. For the burning.
I want to get them out of there.
You're right.
And I didn't know if it was on all the trails and if they're by the fairways where we're burning the prairie. We burn the prairie or try to burn it every couple of years because that promotes the growth of the prairie. And once the wood chips dry out, I don't know if that would be a fire hazard or not, but they do a pretty good job on the boundaries when they do their burns.
Yeah, we've tried to, you know, there's been some groups that have shared some concerns about, you know, the disc golf and the prairie, and we've really listening to those and making some adjustments to where those fairways might intersect or cross over some of the prairies. So I think it's, you know, it's, for me, it's been an opportunity to understand two groups' interests and try and maintain some common goals that, you know, we can have a prairie out there, we can have walking trails, we can have disc golf. We have 7,500 people between the village and the township, and it'd be nice to, I feel that that's gonna be a real asset to the community, so.
Do you think, Donnie Kern here, do you think 2 times a year is gonna be enough? Or is there gonna be enough foot traffic on the disc golf in order to keep that tamped down to only need to do twice a year?
I'm just, at this point, just kind of estimating what we think would happen. I don't know how often the crew goes out there and mows.
And I think it would do, it's mostly to keep the brush down. And so, because we had last year, we had a contractor come in with a rotary mower thing and mow it all down. And now it's regrowing and we can't get in there to get it And we don't want it to get out of hand again because that's pretty expensive, so we need to, it's just to keep the brush down. After that, you know, yeah, there'll be foot traffic to keep the grass down for the trail part, but you need it wider than where we're walking, so we need to keep the brush down.
There's the few
I mean,
ones out on the prairie that are like grass, that are gonna grow as fast as grass grows. Those probably could use to be mowed probably once a week or however it gets mowed when the grass is growing.
You're right.
The rest, 90% of the course is through the woods, and
Mhm.
we just gotta chop down the buckthorn, so when it keeps coming back.
It keeps coming.
And just one quick
Okay.
thing, to piggyback, what Tim said is, just so the village knows, we have helped. I will say we as the town have mowed the LaGranger on golf course. I'm gonna say multiple times, I don't know how many
You
times.
mean up there? Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know our road crew has taken our tractor and mower out there and helped out a bit, so I'm just saying we work together good, and I hope we can keep this relationship, so
For sure.
it's been great, is what I'm saying, and we're just looking for a little help
For
back,
sure.
and
Do you
if you
think,
guys need anything, we're always willing to help out, so.
Perfect, thank you. So do you think, probably just one time
Once
for this year,
This year.
and then if we say 2 to 4 times next year, mow as
Yeah,
needed?
2 to 3, yeah.
Yeah, just mow it as needed, and then, in Tim's letter, it said kind of help with garbage. If you guys pay for garbage now, can we maybe split the cost of that, or?
Well, I'm thinking if they're out there mowing and they have the tool cat, it might be, the ability to just go, they're gonna be going by where there's, garbage, containers, cause I think there's 5 or 6 of them out there. It might be just a matter of picking up those bags at that point. And similarly, when we go out there mowing, you know, it might be a little bit out of the way, but, you know, I'm thinking we could possibly pick up the garbage bags at that time. So if we pick them up, you know, even once a month, and we'll just have to kind of watch and see what additional work is done, because I mean, it's all new.
And I suppose when you put a dumpster out there, everybody's gonna just throw it there.
Yeah.
you can't do that.
Yeah,
We do it on the
we're trying
sides
to
of the
keep-
road.
Trying to keep the garbage locations too, for its easier access, trying to keep them towards not the outer side, towards the
Right,
inside.
towards the
every other
inside, so
hole.
we can drive a pickup in.
You
there.
can drive a pickup through there on the
Yeah.
trails and probably pick them up pretty
Yeah.
easily, so.
You know, I know with the village, we have, kind of put together something where, and maybe one of the guys can touch base on that, where you are able to, they have a code that you can scan, in order to donate directly to, you know, a specific fund, for, disc golf in the village. Is that something that, we might be able to carry on into this, disc golf course as well?
I wouldn't see why
I
not.
think Brandon started doing something like that.
Yeah,
you know?
as of right now,
Yeah, you-
the QR code is directly for LaGranger, but
Oh,
I am
LaGranger.
kind of in control of that. I'm kind of directing what, the plan of action on how things go. And once Parnell Prairie gets established, I think we'd probably clump it under the same Somerset disc golf heading and use the monies as needed there, but
Be Somerset Disc Golf, LaGranger, Somerset Disc Golf,
Parnell.
Parnell Prairie
Yeah.
Reserve.
Good. You know, I would-
So we can get that on our public works agenda?
That shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I don't think there should be a problem in that either.
Great.
I'll use it. Sure.
When is the?
As far as the wood chips are concerned, I just have to, talk to Bob and get that coordinated with him. You know, using the truck over there.
Yep,
Yeah, I don't think we have to go through the agenda for that item. We'll
No,
just,
no.
we'll just, you let us know what day, give Public Works and Donnie some time, and they'll be out there with trucks.
I'm thinking, do you think that it would work in there? I'm thinking maybe next week.
I'm sure next week sometime.
Yeah,
we're
It'll be
gonna-
dry enough, and
Yeah, you know, right now it's,
Yeah.
the beauty of it is that it's, when walking out there, you wouldn't know we had 3 inches of rain. Ground is pretty dry and it's pretty sandy out there, so there's no
Yeah, there wouldn't
walking.
be a problem.
Yeah,
so where's that from the High Bridge, 165th?
Bottom of Landing Hill.
yeah.
On the landing, yeah.
But the chips are at the park. They're at the
They're
Parnell
already at the
Prairie.
park?
They're at the Parnell Prairie. They're already there.
They're already there, okay.
And we didn't know how many they dumped. I said, they were dumping it in semis and I just said, well, we need a bunch up there. So they hauled, I don't know how many loads. And so We got plenty.
Lots of things we can have for the village.
Yeah,
Perfect, yeah. Anything else on that, gentlemen? Or ladies?
no, I think that's it.
Can I ask, can there be public comment like the town of Somerset style meetings, or is this a different style of meeting?
Go ahead.
Are you sure? Okay. I'm nervous with public speaking, so I have to read this. Sorry. My name is Katie Fiba, and I live in the town of Somerset. I would like to respectfully request that Sean Schottler be brought in for a discussion about the Parnell Prairie Preserve with a potential walkthrough as well. He's an expert in this field, and he helped with the original Parnell Prairie project. Sean explained to me that the reason that the extremely rare prairie remnant still exists today at Parnell, which consists of nearly 60 acres, is because that land was very lightly farmed due to poor soil conditions for farming. And it was only seasonally grazed, so very lightly. A prairie can be overgrazed and permanently destroyed. Sean said that except for the few acres at the front that were used for the dump, the entire land tract is prairie remnant, even where there are trees. He said that everywhere wood chips are put down for the course, whether it's surrounding baskets, platforms, or fairways, the prairie plants will be destroyed and not come back. Most of the disc golf stations are in the prairie remnant area, not on the land where the dump was buried. Sean said that this prairie is exceedingly rare and highly valuable. It's the perfect example of what a prairie in St. Croix County is supposed to look like. And cannot be replicated by the DNR, no matter how hard they try. It really represents the gold standard for a prairie ecosystem here in western Wisconsin. Also,
30 seconds.
oh, sorry. All of the disc golf stations within the inner part of the preserve are of high concern to pedestrians, especially in the many places where frisbees are crossing the pathways, the main pathways. For example, the tunnel of trees, which may become Station 10 and part of Station 11. They've placed 2 baskets there with frisbees being thrown across the main path. They're talking about turning it into a one-way because it's a blind approach and the risk of someone getting hit is so high. That's it, okay.
I,
Thank you.
just
Sorry.
quickly, I know it's just a comment, but I do intend to meet with Sean, go out there.
Oh,
So,
that's wonderful. Thank you very much.
And you'll forward your
yeah,
findings
I'll
to.
I'll forward the findings to the boards and we can pass that on to you.
Thank you.
And just so you know, we're doing our best. I mean, we're trying hard. We're not, trying to hurt the prairie, so.
Thank you.
Tim, when you talk to him, can you just talk about burning, see where we're at, what he thinks?
Oh, okay,
Just to
sure.
see, we're just curious if we need to burn or if we should hold off a little bit.
It looks like a lot of it got mowed out there when I was out there today, so I don't know if Bill was out mowing, because I know there's certain Popple's coming up and tries to mow that down, so.
Yeah, just see what he says.
Talking about still a fall burn?
Either fall or spring, or just see where he thinks it's at.
Okay.
We kind of take his, when it comes to that, I usually talk to him about that one, so.
You want to give us an update on the tender?
So after our meeting last week, like the next day or 2 days later, we got an email from Pierce. We're meeting on October 26th to go over the plan or the drawings and the, whatever you wanna call it. And they're still talking June delivery. Everything's right on course, nothing has changed or anything.
Did you get the exact amount? Did you ever get a chance to look at your invoice though? Sarah, you don't have a copy, do you?
We don't have an invoice or anything yet. We don't, it's just what the quote was. I didn't even think to dig out my email to find that one.
But it sounded
Didn't you
like.
say the price was gonna go up though, or something?
It was possibly because we got put into they updated the cab, or the chassis. The M1 or whatever that's called. We have nothing we can do about it. The chassis order, it's gone and they've changed it, and you have to get the new one, so. But I don't think he thought it was too much, but I don't think he knows either.
And it says, estimated cost as part of the agenda. What's the estimated cost?
60? I can't remember, yeah, like
And that's gonna be shared 50-50, I think, right?
47.53, I think.
47-50.
Whatever the current split. I can get it now, I mean, obviously, we're not gonna meet until January, but we'll have October 26th, we'll have a lot better idea.
All right, anything else on that? 2023 budget update?
I think a lot of you were kind of looking at in the financial report, so I don't know if you have any questions. equipment's our biggest, it looks like we spent a ton on that, but we did, I think I mentioned it before, we replaced our Lucas, which is the auto compression for CPR. There was boards in that one that are old enough that if they go out, the unit's done. So we're able to trade it in, get money out of the new one. So we just it made sense to do it, so we did it. We do have some funds actually in the checking. I kind of forgot that the 2% money, when it is over and above our budget, is sitting in our checkbook, and so that's part of why our checkbook continues to carry a balance over and above our budget. So there's about 20,000 over and above the budget right now in there. So we are not concerned about anything, not coming to ask for any money at the end of the year. We should have no issues unless something happens to the truck.
Any updates on the F-150 Lightning?
Nothing. So I
So
would.
you're
hope something-
carrying monies over then this year till next year for that then, right?
We have our money in our savings account, so that's covered, yeah. We have the money to pay for that 100%.
And then, new business, the 2024 fire rescue department budget. Basically,
Yeah, we can go through it like we did at the commission letter, what I usually do every year. If you guys want to go through it. Most of you guys know, and those that were at the commission level, we're educated how the 2% money works. As the 2% money comes in, this year was over 5,000 more than what we budgeted.
Do you wanna, I finally found out at the last meeting before, you wanna explain the 2% money?
I think we tried to explain, I think everybody here has, other than you, but everybody else that's been around and knows about it, and then you and Chris were both at that meeting, so the 2% money is the state insurance premiums, whatever that's paid in, and X amount is taken off and sent out to fire departments as long as we're doing fire prevention, fire inspections, things like that. So, and it has to be used to pay for fire inspections or fire education, things like that, which we do all of that, so. We cover our costs on that side every year. As more houses go into Somerset and the village and town, the 2% money will increase until we have another downturn in the economy or whatever. We did back when we were starting to see that money go down, turn around, came back up again, so for quite a few, 5, 6, 7 years now, it's been pretty good again. So we budget. When we do next year's budget, we budget off what came in this year. So 23 was based on what we got 22, so 24 is based on what we got in 23. So you see that, so that helps offset our budget, $5,000 right there. If we do increases, that helps you guys on that respect for this year's budget.
As long as it goes up.
Right, when it goes down, it affects everybody. If it goes down, it affects us in that current year as our budget, because that's less money we get from the state, which means we get less money. We don't get our full budget from you guys. So it has gives and takes. If you go down, I should have my glasses so I could read this. So you see the difference is about $5,000 or a little over $5,000 in that side of the total receipts. The officer salaries, between the captains, we had that plan for the next couple of years of how we were gonna increase pay, not only hourly, but even for officers. Jason and I took an increase this year. Next year, Sarah and our captains get an increase, $250 a quarter, whatever it was. Hers is under the other line, but so that it's a $2,000 increase. So they each get a $1,000 increase in their wage for next year for the captains. Payroll, because our hourly rate for each breakdown goes up by $2 per hour per call. We did the 2,500 last year, was plenty to cover that increase. If we had a turnout of 50-60% of the department on every call, it would kill us, but we don't have that, so the increase really isn't affecting us too much. Then you can see Sarah's on the secretary's salary going up by 1,000, so she got the $250 a quarter as well. Training pay, we brought that in last year, we were paying it, or this year, we were paying that out of our budget, so we could handle that, we could cover it, but we're gonna add it to the budget this year. With 3 trainers that each make $250 a quarter to do training. We were kind of running into the problem with people turning out for training, the trainers saying, look, this isn't worth it to also put in all this effort and time to make these trainings and then not have people show up. So we want to keep their standards up and continue to bring in good training by paying them to do it versus not paying them. Because basically 3 out of them, one of our captains is part of it, but 3 of them were not paid anything, and now they're getting paid $250 a quarter, so. Social Security just going up 1,000 to cover all those increases in wages. And then the pension just adding another $1,000 to divvy out between, 15 to 20 people, whatever it is, not a lot there per person. So that section goes up by 10,500 with those wages. Next, section maintenance, we did not increase or change anything there, so that stays the same. Operating supplies, gas, obviously gas prices have gone up. I know they're gonna go down a little bit here in the winter supposedly, but if you look at our budget, we're over budget on that for halfway through the year. So we increased another $500 to help cover that. Firefighting supplies and equipment, we had no reason to increase that. The utilities, as everybody know, I think you guys all see at home, your utilities have gone up, so again, we need to increase that as well to cover that. And computer office supplies, we have a $3,000 increase. If you remember, we had that program we call I Am Responding, which the county does a 5-year contract with the company, and everybody in the county participates in it, and you pay based on how many calls you go on, and how many members you have. Most departments are $3,000 for the 5 years. So we've talked about how in this year, our budget has to go up $3,000 to cover it. Next year, we won't have that for the next 4 years. So just this year, it's a hit that we have to take. The program is widely used by our people. We use it to notify them, send messages to them. Calls come through it. People say they're responding, unavailable, whatever it is for the calls. So it's pretty valuable to us. 3,000 is pretty cheap. And then the total of that one goes up 4,500. Everything else, I believe, stays the same. We don't know anything different about our audits. Our insurance has been we've had enough to cover it this year. Whether or not we have any increase or anything. Fire inspections will be the same. Fire prevention, training, dues and publications and medical expenses, all the same. So bottom line, when you look back on the first page and you look over at the right-hand side, the village and townships portions, village goes up $5,110 and the town goes up $4,727. Each one 4.78 and 4.3 respectively on that side of it. Most of you guys know how it works on the back page on the bottom. It brings out the total payment and then takes off the 2% money and then divvies it up 47.53, and that's what goes up top for your portion. Or $10,000.
The 2% dues get taken off after the 47.53 split.
Yeah, it comes off each individual, so yeah, it's figured out 47.53 and then off of your 47 or your 53, the 2% money comes off of that.
It's not on the agenda like this, but do we make a motion to approve it here?
Yes, because then you'll
Because then
take
we
this
can
to your
take it to
budget
our
workshop.
budgets. That's the number we need to take to our budget, for our budgets.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Carries. And Travis, and Deja for the Act 12. Can you put that
Thanks
on
for
the
getting it
screen?
done.
Act 12 update.
Yeah, I had the opportunity, and I'm sure the municipalities had the same thing, that the Wisconsin Towns Association had a fall training session, and they talked about the shared revenue and a number of other things, but I thought there were some things in here that were worth bringing up because they affect, and just so to clarify, the township will see an increase, what they call supplemental aid. I'm not sure if that's the terminology that you're using in the municipalities, but of $104,000, and I think the village sees about $83,000 increase. So there was a change in Act 12 was the legislation, Act 19 was the actual budget bill, but it's gonna increase the money that comes to for roads. A lot of it's in the townships. Most of our budget is for roads, so it's gonna be coming to us for roads. I'm assuming probably a lot of varied things, in the villages. A couple of things that come along with that. There's a maintenance of effort requirement, and for fire and EMS, there's some, basically what that means is you need to maintain the efforts, maintain the services you provide, and if those happen to drop off, you have to self-regulate. You could lose potentially 15% of that shared revenue as a penalty. And under that, they talked about annually certified maintenance of at least 2 of the following. And this would be for fire and EMS expenditures, excluding capital expenditures, you have to maintain that effort, or you can't drop that. And as we can see with our budget, the budget is going up. Number of full-time equivalent personnel. And because we're volunteer, I don't think, do you categorize the department with any number of full-time equivalents? Okay. Level of training and maintenance of licensure. We need to maintain that. So, and you guys do that. So it's really just the government, or I should say, Wisconsin legislature saying, don't take this money and decrease what you're doing with fire and EMS. And I think that's a very good approach that the legislature is taking. And then response times, have to maintain those adjusted for location. And I think, with the shared, I'm not sure what they call that, where Joe will automatically respond.
Mutual aid.
Yeah, mutual aid. We have I think a very good situation. So I just wanted to bring that forward, because if we fell down and didn't meet at least 2 of those, we could see a 15% of shared revenue penalty, which at 100,000 is $15,000 you'd have to get back to the state. There were some other things which I'm gonna throw it out there only because it's a possibility, and they call it the Innovation Fund. And they have $300 million earmarked for that, which is a sizable amount. And I think it might, and basically what they're looking for is if you can propose something where by combining efforts between municipalities, townships, counties, whatever, in the area of public safety, fire, EMS, courts, jails, training, communications, IT, administration, public works, economic development, tourism, and public health, they're providing grants for that. And this year, I think it's for communities under 5,000. So, we both fall in that category, but it's just something to be aware of. Whether or not there's anything that would make sense to us I'm not saying there isn't, but some new things coming out from the legislature this year that we should at least be aware of. And that was pretty much all I wanted to bring forward. I think we're fortunate here because a lot of smaller communities, their fire departments provide basically ambulance services. So, and they're seeing that there's a real costs are skyrocketing, and some of the small towns and remote areas can't do that. We're fortunate with, having the relationship with Health East and Alina, and, that we do have ambulance service provided by the hospital system that's nearby. But, you might go into Ladysmith and their fire department provides, I'm just using an example, they provide the ambulance services out of the fire department. And did you see, do you have EMRs at all? Mm-hmm. Because you don't have to take did you see the piece in there which was about, you don't need to take the national test anymore?
Yeah, that was new just in the last couple of years too. It just came on new, so it's been not many people that had to do it.
Okay.
So we're pretty 50-50, probably EMTs and EMRs, and even EMTs, so what they're doing there is as you come out of EMR initial training, they force you to get nationally registered, take those tests and do all that stuff. All they're doing is wiping that out. Like an EMT, you get nationally registered as well when you get it. It's up to you to maintain that national registry if I want to or not. As an EMT, I do, because if I want to maybe work somewhere else, I need to maintain the national registry to go across state lines, what have you. a lot of our people let that go, didn't care to keep that up.
Okay.
So it's nice for the initial course, because that's a lot less cost for us as far as having to pay for that portion of them going and doing the national testing and practice tests, all whatever they offer to get that done.
Yeah, so they had some pie charts and they were showing how, so much of it goes to the big cities and those portions of the state funds going for roads and services like that is increasing. I think in the towns, it's doubling from like 5% to 10%. In the villages, I think it's also going up, maybe not by the same percentage, so.
They didn't give you any examples of what the grants could actually go to, because it's pretty high level right here.
Extremely high.
Yeah, it's focused on a lot of the, priority for public safety grants is fire, EMS, and law enforcement. So, they're focusing a lot of their efforts on fire because they heard in EMS because of the issues in a lot of small towns where they can't afford some of the services that their communities need. Sounds like fitting an ambulance now, you've got to have so much equipment in there that it's very prohibitive, so.
Yeah, that makes it even more, how do I say it? We should be very grateful that we have what we have with Lakeview. They don't charge us. And most of their paramedics become critical care paramedics. So most of them that are on the street in that ambulance are pretty much doctors. And they're doing things that doctors can't and won't do. Obviously, they don't do the same thing that doctors do in the hospital setting. So we're very fortunate to have what we have. As much as there was a fight in Hudson when Hudson lost their ambulance service, I think overall they're seeing the benefit of that because now they're getting even better service from the same, from paramedic service like that. So they had paramedic service in Hudson, but they're getting a higher level of care now. So we're
Did
very
I see
lucky.
they bought the old car dealership there? Is that their new headquarters?
Yeah,
To me, that's a good thing for us, because you can't get much closer to.
yeah, they were in the hospital obviously before. The problem is one thing, so my wife works for Lakeview, she's a paramedic with them. One thing with them, the problem, and they're changing, we're actually gonna see more trucks overnight in Stillwater. Hudson, that was part of their agreement, they have 2 trucks every night there. They don't need them as much as they do in Stillwater because they're coming here and they're going, wherever. So they have bases in North St. Paul, Hudson and Stillwater. They're changing some things and adding paramedics, hiring more. So again, that benefits us. We do, obviously they work on I'm trying to think what the name of the model is, but they move trucks around. So if a truck there's only one truck in Stillwater and that's on a call, they might take the truck from North St. Paul and move it in between Stillwater and North St. Paul. So it does delay a response to us because now they're in the middle, somewhere down 36 and responding from there. So an additional truck in Stillwater, overnight, daytime they have 2, 3 trucks on. Nighttime, a lot of times they drop to 1 in Stillwater. So we may get that second truck from Hudson because the Stillwater truck's on something. So
In regards to grants, the fire department was awarded a FEMA grant for the vehicle exhaust system at the town hall.
Oh, was
So,
that?
and it was not in any of the updates.
I know, but I didn't think, when she said the agenda, I didn't think I had like a department activities or updates or whatever. I didn't think. There's a few things.
So do you need any support from the town on?
Eventually, you guys are
5%.
responsible for the 5%.
Okay.
We're working, like I talked to one of the companies, so both companies, there's 3 companies that do the systems. That's all there are out there. 2 of them ready, one guy drove up from Ohio and the other guy came from somewhere in Wisconsin. I met with both of them now in the last, just 2 days ago and then a couple weeks ago or a week ago. So we're just kind of getting the quotes together now. We have 2 years to put it in. We'll probably put it in the spring, when the weather's
You
cooperative.
didn't get estimates and numbers for budgeting for us on that 5% though, did you?
Yeah, well, I'll know what it is. I mean, I'll have, so one company's called Magna Grip. He already mailed them. I don't have them yet, but he mailed them, so I should get them today, tomorrow, next week, whatever. And then the other company, I think I just met with on Tuesday. I'd imagine I'll get his quote here fairly shortly.
Because
too.
we'd like
So
that, so
right now,
for next year's budget.
Fourth, right? That's when your guys is like.
I mean, you're 5%, the total amount of grants is right around 90,000, so you're 5%, it's 5%, I mean,
So
you're talking
5,000 or
$5,000 at
less.
the most.
Oh, okay. But it's nice to put it in that.
Right, hopefully it's lasts, you know, that's the goal, base, having the two companies competing, but, you know, we're looking at, like, we thought last week, oh, we should probably ask them like electrical service, what do we need, you know, because it came up about the truck. One company so far responded back, we need some AM service, I think we have that, we just have to, obviously, probably talk to Donnie and have him come look at our panels, we've got quite a mess, obviously, electrically up there in our side, with the older stuff and the newer stuff, but. So we're waiting on the other company to get back on that. That side, the quote will do everything up to the panel and hook it up to our electric panel. Anything that we have to do service wise to the panel, we are responsible for, so. There may be some additional cost on that side for that.
Do you think the truck will arrive next year?
The lighting,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay.
One of our members' wife ordered a Bronco. They had no information for quite a while, and all of a sudden they called up and said, hey, it's in production, or emailed or whatever. So once it's in production, then you'll know and you'll get updates from them. She even knew it was at the dealership before the dealership knew it was at the dealership by the email, so.
because I'm just wondering if we need to budget for the charging station.
We're not gonna change anything on that, other than just regular service. Because it's not gonna be a high use vehicle, we're not gonna need anything, we don't need to go to a level 2 or anything, and if we ever do get to the point where we use it a bunch, Joel and Mike have already offered to come down here and plug it in down here, so. We don't have a concern, it's not a truck that's a daily use, it's not it'll be unplugged more than it'll be plugged in, because you don't wanna put it at 100%. Or sit at 100%, you wanna kinda keep it at that 80%, is what I've been told, so.
But we asked about that at the commission level, the charging station and the additional cost for that. They're just talking about just regular extension cord with them.
Right now, the truck that's parked in that spot has because it's got a battery maintainer, so it plugs into a regular standard cord. So
Okay.
we don't see changing that at all. We don't have it, I don't see a reason unless that truck becomes an actual, right at this time, unless that becomes a future, you know, medical truck or things like that, where we're running it as our main truck, then that could change, but even then. We don't, I mean.
Unless Pierce changes that tender to,
Yeah, I won't buy an electric fire truck, full fire truck for quite a few years. I don't see the. I mean, they're still a diesel truck. It's,
Yeah.
it's electric for going and driving, and you're pumping and stuff, you're back on diesel. It's got, I mean, so it's not I mean, to me, that's a little scary. This is just a utility drive around truck. I'm not worried about that, but yeah, when you get into the bigger one, it's a little bit, that's gonna be quite, yeah. I mean, their tugs at airports are all electric now. I mean, it's crazy how many vehicles are going that direction, so.
just so you know, also, we did upgrade the backup power, for access control and got batteries in there. And got the wires hooked up correctly, so, and then moved the old backup to the, internet, so we can maintain, power for or internet connection for being able to get in there if something does go down.
No problem again.
Yeah. That's
I
it.
just have a quick question. So when they redid 35, brand new like bike trail and walking trail, and then it comes around to Dairy Queen that we had last year, has there been any talk about continuing a bike path or walking path up past the fire hall to like LaGrange or
Cutting it in right
River
now.
Hills?
Yeah, that's part of the project.
Yesterday.
That is part of the project?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Close to it.
now.
Yeah, they cut it in, started cutting it in last night.
Supposed to go all the way up.
That's great.
There was supposed to be a roundabout, but I heard they're taking that out, or they didn't do that now, so.
That was gonna be just.
Right by the front.
Okay. I see they're working on it. Went by there at like 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and there was a guy out there cutting concrete.
They're gonna pour during the night, aren't they?
That's,
Yeah,
I think
doing
that was
some
the
night work,
conversation.
They're gonna do some night work, so you might be getting some.
And they've given you I asked them to make sure they get you in the loop to make sure you have access, so.
Yeah, and I mean, I have,
Yeah, you
I talked to A1X yesterday about it as well, and
And I
it's,
talked to
he said,
them.
plan from both our interests being closed, we have grandeur, I'm not concerned at all.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to get our people to try to get on habit of using the Lagrange. So in the middle of the night, they don't go pulling off and hit a big hole.
Drive over that country.
Yeah, we're driving away.
Meeting date and time for the next meeting? We wanna set that? It looks like it'd be like December 27th.
That'll be January.
January.
I think we never met between.
Just never know.
in the-
We always the first.
Move, this
We
one
went-
should be
we went
next
into
month.
January. That way we got the end of the year, everything all done.
Yeah.
So we go into the end of January.
So Wednesday, January 24th.
Sounds correct.
Probably Wednesday, January 24th,
7 PM.
7 P.M. Yep. Oh,
Does it flip flop? Shouldn't it be the village again? Remember that was a
discussion.
issue.
Jerry.
It was always that one was always in the township, so she wanted to flip it. Or did we do that this year and flip? I don't remember.
At least the date's set.
It always, well, it was, the January one was always in the township, but.
Well,
that was-
it always used to end up, the budget one was always at ours, so.
So we must have flipped it this year, to make that.
So we
happen.
did flip it, I think, because the budget, for some reason, we always had the budget meeting at ours.
Yeah,
And now it's, so this year it's down here, so it should be.
so next year it should be in the township because,
Yeah.
so we did the township 2 quarters in a row.
Yeah, for sure.
To make that happen, so.
So township, Wednesday, January 24th at 7 o'clock.
Yep.
The most important motion.
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Well, who's seconded?
Aye.
Shane did.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries, and we are done at exactly 8 PM. Thank you, guys.
Yep.